Why, hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Innovantage Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Max, and it is my ongoing job and duty to explore the edge between business and tech and to find out what lurks within that edge and to find something interesting for you to listen to. Today's episode is a very interesting one and a pretty special one, I would say. We're going to be talking about digitalization. We're going to be talking about the role of leadership in tech. We're going to be talking about how to combine many different and very interesting things on your route, on your career throughout tech. All of that we're going to be exploring through the lens of women in tech, generally speaking. And to help me on that journey today is Diana Gold, who is CTO and Head of Digitalization in Technology at Gijos, Partnership Associate Professor at Vilnius University, and a PhD candidate at ISM University of Management and Economics. That's a lot of titles. Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. So how did you come to this place in your career? How did you manage to do so many things at the same time? Why those things specifically? And so on and so forth.
Okay. So I think it's always about curiosity.
Sure.
But let's start in the beginning. When I was choosing my career and I was choosing my degree where I should go, it was based on two factors, basically. So I was kind of good with math and IT. So this was one factor. And then this sphere kind of looked very promising. And one acquaintance of mine told me that, okay, this is going to be the next big thing. And it's so difficult to get in. And then, I thought, okay, challenge accepted. Let's try it. So I joined Management Information Systems at Vilnius University. This was a program. It still is. And I really enjoyed it. I liked it. In my third year, I think I joined, I started working, third or fourth, at Siemens as an IT analyst. And we were actually creating a new system for one of the companies. And I was writing down technical specifications of how those systems should work and doing the trainings and etc. And I really liked it. Then I also wanted to see what international sphere is bringing us. So I had a year spent in Sweden, also studying for my master's. It was ICT entrepreneurship. And there I got this global feeling that, okay, we're not, we always had this feeling, here in Lithuania, at least like 20 years ago, that we are probably worse than people in Western Europe. They are so much smarter. They have so many, things going on. And when you actually go there and you see that, okay, it's not that bad. We can compete. We can be there together, in the same pot and work in the same places and do same jobs. So this was like eye-opening also for me. So when I came back, I was thinking maybe to also go somewhere more international. And I joined IBM as a SAP Consultant. So I went straight to India for my 5 weeks program to get a certification on SAP. And then I was shipped to Scandinavia as an IT consultant. Yes, and I was working for more than 8 years in IBM in different projects. None of them were in Lithuania. So all of them were somewhere in Europe or specifically in Scandinavia, I would say Sweden and Finland and those countries. And later I understood that in order to get good projects and interesting projects where I could, make the change, I had to travel a lot. And that was a problem for me because I had small kids. So I started looking into what can I do here in Lithuania with SAP. And then I joined Teo. They were looking for team lead for SAP team. And this was actually my first team lead job where I was managing a team. And there was a huge program, transformational program, where we just changed all the system architecture from scratch, basically, and then migrating the legacy to the new architecture. And then I don't know how much you know about this, but Teo was like a broadband provider, internet, and then there was Omnitel that was telco, more mobile telco, and they in 2016 they actually merged. So then this transformation program became even more interesting because we had to think, from both perspectives. And in those kinds of programs, you usually grow quite exponentially because the company grows. We started as a team of 5, and then we grew to 100. And then usually, the first ones to get there, they are kind of more knowledgeable. And if they're team leads, then they're becoming managers. And, it's the growth was quite exponential there. So we were doing that program. And at some point, I kind of felt that maybe I want to do something else, something more broad. At the time, I was a manager of a team. I think I had 30 people in the team. And I thought, okay, maybe for me, it's more interesting to look into the whole project delivery. And not only for one project, but in general. So I shifted to a delivery manager position. And I shifted then from having a team of 30 to having a team of 1. And everyone was quite, shocked and curious. Why would I do that? I was like a manager and I had the team, etc. And now I only have one person. But I felt that I was doing a much bigger impact being where I am. So we kind of standardized the way we're doing projects, and not only for transformation program, but in general for the whole IT. There were around maybe 200 people in-house, and then we had 100 consultants who were also working. So in total, 300 people had to work together in order to get to the results. So for me, it was quite exciting to kind of, how do we work? How can we work together to just make it happen? And we actually achieved that. So we actually were able to standardize this project delivery in a way that it was efficient. Yeah, and then some internal organizational changes happened. We were kind of joining the group. So not only Lithuania, but we were in the Telia group. And I was kind of in the middle. So what should I do? Should I remain the delivery manager? What should I do? And I decided to switch a little bit also position towards country CIO, so which was in the middle. So there is a company and there is a Lithuanian company. And then I'm in the middle trying to, take care of the needs of Lithuania through the team that is there in the group. Mm-hmm. So that was quite a difficult one, because you have to align all of those interests. In one side, you want unique, systems, unique functionalities, and on the other side, we're talking about standardization and having common solutions and etc. So this was quite an interesting position for me. And then I was asked to join a team of top management as CDO, Chief Digital Officer, digital and data, because I had both digital and analytics in that team. That was also very interesting and eye-opening for me, being able to work with very highly skilled people in one team. So I kind of went out of the IT bubble into a broader picture, and then there I was one of the very few people who actually understands technology, and a little bit, And then you have all those other people from marketing, from legal, from HR, from everywhere, who you have to educate, and you have to, defend your positions and tell them what is happening within IT, what should we do, like the strategy, the vision, etc. So yeah, that was interesting. And then I decided maybe I should try something new. So and I was having like always two options. So I thought, okay, I tried consulting already. I tried being in the enterprise. I should now do something else, maybe. And on my table, I had startups or public sector. So these were quite far from each other. So the public sector caught me first, and I'm really glad, because I was positively surprised of how well, at least my company, is organized, and how well we know what we want to do, and we do so many different things that are future ready and innovative, and we're doing things fast. So I have to catch up now. So in this position, I also have a topic that is new to me, which is infrastructure and network. So I have to, learn that as well on the way. So here I'm a CTO, as you mentioned. So learning things every day. So trying to.
Well, that's a very, very fascinating career path, I'm going to be honest with you. So it has that kind of balance of both international exposure and the viewpoint of how the local market basically developed. First, Lithuania was just a service for other larger markets, but then with time, more and more of their own technological competency grew, and more companies appeared, and more kind of localized interests have prevailed, I guess. So for our listeners who are outside of Lithuania or maybe just don't know, so what does Gijos do specifically in the market?
Yeah, Gijos is an energy company. More specifically, we are providing central heating, but we are also in the energy, so balancing the electricity. And we have so many projects, as I told you. So now we are building a hydrogen factory, for example.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
in Lithuania specifically?
Yes, it's going to be in our territory, and we are doing so many other things within energy and renewable energy, also. So yeah,
very fascinating topic as well on its own right. Like the role energy currently plays in the EU and how European kind of mindset has changed throughout the years of what to do with energy, how to supply energy, and so on and so forth. So that's very, very cool thing to work on. Where does IT fit into this whole thing? What are you mainly working on? So you mentioned infrastructure. What kind of infrastructure?
So basically I'm responsible for the whole technology from starting from servers and cloud and networks, and then ending with artificial intelligence, so it's quite broad. We have quite a big team, I would say, for a company like that. We're almost 50 people. And we are working in different spheres. So I have people working on the projects and on the changes that we want to bring in. So we're changing billing system, then we have to change our self-service and, asset management, finance. So we are renewing our, let's say, architecture as well. So I have quite a lot of new projects and new changes that are coming. Then I also have to support whatever is already working, right? So with the service desk and all the computers and everything else. And then I have to think about all those legal things, like the new directive that is coming, NIS 2. I don't know if you know about that. And
I've heard of it, yes. But can you elaborate? Because I only kind of heard of it very, very vaguely.
Yeah, so basically, this is a directive that is going to control especially the companies that are should be highly regulated, the ones that are like heating, like energy, like probably telecoms, banks, and etc. So there are going to be rules of how your infrastructure should look like, how your network should look like, how your applications have to be, managed. How should you? So it's basically like all of us now have to become an ISO certified because of this. And the term is quite short. We have to do that by the first quarter of 2027. So we have to change almost like the whole deal.
That's a very interesting point, because a lot of the time what I talk about here on the show is the role of innovation in traditional enterprises, right? Especially non-tech enterprises, which I believe yours definitely falls into that category, where tech exists, but it's not the main central thing. It's about many other things. So with that new regulation, what do you think? Does it thrive? Does it give more place for innovation, or does it limit the amount of innovation that you're able to do within the tech scene in the company itself?
Okay, so first of all, IT or the digitalization part in our company is quite, takes quite a big place. We have it in our strategy. So for us, it is a pace that we want to go to. But returning to your question, I think that in the long run, it's going to open up possibilities for innovation because it's like hygiene. You're fixing your hygiene. I've seen so many times that we have problems with our legacy systems and our infrastructure that is not good, and we cannot do anything with it, where our data is not good, and then we have to think how, if we at all can have those ML algorithms or artificial intelligence in general based on the data that is not clean. So I think that this directive actually, for me, I take it as a chance to fix the basics, to fix the hygiene that we have, because you never have time for this. You never want to focus on that. So now for me, I take it as an opportunity to actually fix the basics. And then out of that, there you can go quite far, I think, with innovations. So...
That's a good point. That's a good point. I do agree with you that the basics, the hygiene, as you said, is often ignored throughout an organization, even a tech-first organization. So you mentioned that tech is a focus for the company, for Gijos. Of course, I agree with that, as for many companies. But even companies that are built on tech, like B2B SaaS platforms or whatever, even for them, like the amount of tech depth, but not like developmental depth, but hygienal depth is so huge over time that it's going to be impossible to implement a lot of the innovations that we're talking about. And you mentioned AI, which everybody talks about AI nowadays. Everybody looks towards AI to find that next big thing for them. And without data, you cannot do anything. And that's the very basic thing that often gets ignored. Yeah, we have something somewhere, like in some state.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Yes.
So that's a very, very, very good point, honestly. Hopefully that's true. We will see. Time will tell.
Hopefully we can manage in time also.
That's also
going to be a big project also for us.
Yeah, but I like that sort of thinking. I also said numerous times on the show that I am more a supporter of regulation, not maybe every single regulation out there, but generally speaking, I like that it gives structure. It gives kind of direction of where you need to go and sets up the rules of how you need to get there. And it helps then structure what you need to do again. And especially if you're like trying to defend your own position of technology within an organization that is larger than that, it's a very good argument.
Yeah, it is a very good argument because CEO will have to pay the fine, so it becomes a very, very much the priority for the organization. Not only, but you can get bad consequences if you don't comply with it. Yeah. So, but as I said, I take it as an opportunity. I can talk to my peers then and say, okay, guys, we have to do that. We can't build innovation on top of old, legacy infrastructure. We have to upgrade it. We have to fix our legacy systems, and then from there we can go further and we can go faster than we do now.
Yeah. Also, a very thorough concern, very major concern. I think that's the word I'm looking for a lot of organizations. How fast can we make this? How fast can we go through digital transformation if we're doing it? How fast can we innovate? So like speed is of the essence. And sometimes people would say that regulation stops that or doesn't help that at least. But I probably agree with you more where, maybe stops you in the moments, but in the longer term.
Yeah, exactly.
It evens out or gives you better results in the end. But coming back to you, you've led those kinds of processes in different companies, both public sector and private sector. What are some key maybe factors that always go into digital transformation processes or digitalization processes as a whole?
Yeah. So first of all, first thing that I learned is that you shouldn't invent things. There are so many good frameworks and best practices that are already there for you. You just have to find the right ones, the right fit. So from the experience that we had, when we started the transformation program I told you about, we were trying to find what would be the best way to do that, how to collaborate among 100 people and still get to the results. So we had like a couple of attempts of creating our own methodology of how to do that and processes, and we failed with that. But then we found a standard that we just applied. And then things got better from there, I would say. But so I would say that using standards, maybe not full scope, maybe not by the word, maybe just apply them to your organization. But when everyone understands the rules in the same way, and you have the path forward, and you know where you're going. It makes it so much easier. So you need to have priorities, you need to have a roadmap, and you need to have the agreed rules how you're going there. So everyone is on the same boat and understands that. So I think that that would be probably my answer.
That's in turn, I think, places a lot of pressure, I guess, on you specifically, or anybody leading that sort of processes, to be aware of what kind of standards exist, to be knowledgeable about what frameworks work and how to apply them, and so on and so forth. So that in and of itself creates a lot of academical requirement.
Just ask LLMs
and they will figure something out, but how much of that will true?
Show you what is the menu, and then you can go deeper.
So would you trust an LLM to be to explain a framework that you haven't learned about yet to you?
Maybe not explain, but if that decision were to come today, I would go to LLM and ask what are the frameworks that could help me manage a huge program over 100 people. What would you suggest? And then it gets a list of frameworks, and then you go and see which ones you think fit you. But you're right. I mean, you have to go deeper. So in that case, we actually had education. We educated the whole company. Once I switched my role from the team manager towards delivery manager and trying to standardize, this processes, I went and became a coach for SAFe. It was a SAFe, framework that we chose.
Scaled Agile framework.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be that, but I mean, in our case, we chose that.
Sure.
And then I just went for the courses. I became a coach, and then we spent the whole year educating our organization for SAFe. Mm-hmm. So for teams, for Scrum Masters, for product owners, for leaders, for I think I calculated in that year, together with my colleague, we educated 260 people, something like that.
Oh, wow.
And then that's what I mean by understanding the rules. Everyone understood what we want to do and how we're playing it. And then it became so much easier, and it became like routine for everyone. There are no huge escalations, or I don't understand what are the priorities, or I don't know what to do. I mean, everyone knew. So, and now I'm also trying at Gijos to do to standardize the delivery, to standardize maintenance, which is ITIL. So all the IT people know about that framework. And once you have this, I think it's easier, to move forward. So because this is also basics and hygiene, right? That you fix, and then starting from there, you can improvise.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That kind of structure definitely should help, especially again in the long term, if you're building something out. Because, like you said, spending a year educating people, that's, from a kind of a business perspective, can seem a little bit ineffective.
Well, it doesn't mean that we stopped working.
Sure.
I mean, we worked all the time, but people more and more got acquainted with what we're doing, why we're doing it, what are the traits, what we're looking for, within leadership characteristics and other things.
So it gives kind of the same language, first and foremost.
Exactly.
That you can all then unite behind, plus the same expectations towards what the system should be and what the expectations for the system can be. as well as just raising the efficiency of the processes themselves. Because again, the system works. It has been proven to work by many other organizations, by many other people.
So don't try to invent a bicycle.
Yes, that's a very good advice. That's a very good advice.
But maybe I could also add that this is also a cultural change. When you talk about digital transformations, it's not only systems that you're changing, not only the architectures and digital products, but also how people interact, how you work together, how you prioritize what is important, what is not important. And this takes time. It's sometimes even more time than putting processes in place, right? So, and I think you have to also focus on creating that kind of culture that you want to be in. And it's an important also aspect, I would say.
That's a very also good and interesting point, like culture in and of itself. How do you control it, change it? Is it something that goes from the top down where, the CEO needs to take a look? Okay, I'm going to get fined a lot if we do not implement SAFe, for example. We need to implement SAFe, so now we're all agile focused, and that's our culture. Or does it come from the bottom up, where somebody like you, maybe in some team member or team leader, just goes up and says hey, we can raise our business efficiency and digital maturity if we implement those processes there and there? How does it work from your experience? Where does that desire for cultural change come from?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you need to have a critical mass of people who think that you can do that change. And then you kind of involve others. So you start with something small where you actually can show that this works and this can bring benefits to the company. And then if you do that, others see, because when you talk, it's not that persuasive as when you show how it works. So if you show on one project or one change or one something that this works, then other people start. Okay, in our case it was like that. We want to join. We want to work like you. And there was a situation where we actually were working within the program according to that new processes. And then one team was kind of, I would say, separated from this program. So they were going on independently. And then after a couple of months, they said, we don't know how to work. It was so, we understood everything, how to work in this setup. And then when we got independent, we don't know how to work anymore. Can we go back in, So, and others kind of wanted to join. But then we need to have a support from leadership, because it's a change. You have new roles, you have new processes, you need to look at it in a different way. So you have to also sell it to your CEO and the top management team, how you want to work and why. And then if you have something to show for it, then it's much easier to do that. But without critical mass, you can't do the change, and without leadership support, you can't sustain it. It's not sustainable without the support of the leaders. It's important that they understand. So I remember, in SAFe, I don't know, if your audience knows about that, but in Scaled Agile framework, there is a term Agile Release Train. So it's basically a team of teams that are delivering the same kind of product. So I remember when our CEO started to talk about trains, I understood, okay, now he gets it, now he bought it. So we can go forward.
Yeah, that's a good metric, honestly. That's a good metric. When somebody understands the kind of the basic of it, the core of the implementation of the philosophy. I guess. Because
the first time we met and I was telling him about this, he said, why do you need to know that? Why are you telling me this? So, and then he switched to actually, totally supporting this.
So what's your general advice for anybody in that position of needing to drive cultural transformation and digital transformation, of controlling the organizational maturity of tech? When you're in that role, what's your top three maybe advice of what you need to look for?
Oh, I had to be prepared for that. Yeah. Well, you can't do it alone. You need to have a team that supports you, and a team that is willing to go forward with you. And this is built over time. So I would say team is number one. Then you have to be able to show the results. So start small with something that is achievable, and you can show your result. But this goes for everything. I mean, for any change that you want to bring. First, you need to show the pilot then that it works. And then I think you need to have some kind of persuasive power and communication and presentation skills, or just to be able to show the rest of the organization, especially the leaders, how it works and why you think we should do the change. Yeah, and believe. Maybe that's the fourth one. Believe that you can do it. That was also a very interesting story when I was kind of driving this change. I was blind to everything. I mean, I didn't notice any skeptics or critics or anyone who was opposing. Since we had already a critical mass going forward with this, I was just going. And when we did that in a half a year or so, my then manager told me, I didn't believe that you would do that. I didn't tell you anything, but I was like 50-50 if it's going to happen or not. But I mean, you were blind to all the skepticism and just believing in the change. And, when you believe, you're a very good salesman. At least in my case, I see that. If I don't believe something, it's really hard to sell. But if you do believe, then you just, you talk with passion and show the results, and it's easier.
That's also a nice point to touch on, sales, because so far you haven't really mentioned sales as a part of your job description at the very least. And the type of roles that you have been mentioning aren't client-centric or client-related or sales-related or anything of that sort. And in university, I'm guessing you didn't study sales, because nobody does. So can you elaborate a little bit on that? What kind of role do the skill to sell plays, or maybe sales plays in those types of roles that you've mentioned?
So, yeah, I never consider myself as a person that could sell anything. I am not a commercial person. I couldn't, even if I would start a business, I would probably give everything away and not earn anything. But I mean, with time, I understood that if you want things to go your way, you can either force it, or you can, somehow show people that it works, so they want to join in and they want to do that. And this is kind of sales, right? So yeah, I never worked with the real customers, but I always worked with customers like internal customers. And this is a skill that you want to have as a leader in technology, because most of your peers, they're not so deep, into technology, and you have to educate them, and you have to tell them what is new, what is happening, what is coming, what can we use. And this is kind of, this awareness needs to happen, and you have to be a salesman of some kind to because it's easier than when people want to do that, right? It's easier than you push to do something, because then they resist. So yeah, I would say sales to internal customers is a big part of my role.
So how did you manage to pick up those kinds of skills? Something that you've learned somewhere in one of the trainings, or it's something that just developed naturally over the course of your career?
Probably, I don't know, naturally. I mean, as I said, I wouldn't sell anything I don't believe in. That would be impossible for me. But if I do, then probably I don't even notice that I'm selling. It's the same when you're in the job interview and you're trying to hire someone. You're selling, right? You're selling the position. This is the same. So you're not a salesman, and you're not kind of using those tactics and negotiations and etc. But in a way, from within, you're selling this. And this is probably a skill that was developed through those kinds of situations, like job interviews, like going to top management, or I don't know, maybe even higher management to tell what you want them to do, and how you want the company to transform. And so these kinds of situations just equip you with the ability to sell sell your ideas.
Well, for a non-salesperson, you do have a very firm grasp on what sales is, because
Thank you.
somebody who does sell a lot of the time, both internally and externally, and trying to combine all of those blah, 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 blah. So like, that's one of the major things that I always talk about. Is there's a book called To Sell is Human. I don't remember who wrote it, unfortunately, at the top of my head, but I digress. So it talks about how so many things in our lives are just sales, but we don't really think about it, because a lot of it is that authenticity, that belief in something that you want to give to other people, and other people are inherently interested in things that are beneficial to them, but they need to understand whether or not they are beneficial to them, and they need to understand what is the benefit. And as long as you can clearly show that, and as long as you understand people, which requires empathy, also a very big trait, as long as you can do that, then it just comes out natural. Even like...
I like to think that
well, I think your career is a testament to that you are able to do that. And any big transformation, I think, requires that.
And sell yourself, right? Also.
Yeah. Also, like going from one position to the next, that requires sales of your own. By the way, we haven't really talked about your role in Vilnius University as well, but that is an educational part of things. I don't know, can we count it as public sector as well? I don't know. Kind of.
Education, yeah.
Public-ish. So there's probably a lot of sales to that as well, like selling ideas to students or selling knowledge to students.
Yeah.
Or not really. How does it work?
Yeah, I think so, because you have to, you have to be interesting during the lectures. You have to make sure that they listen to you and not in their phones and not attending at all. They're free to not attend if they want. But I agree that this is also sales, and I really enjoy actually the story. When I went for the education, I had this idea for some time, and then I was thinking maybe I should try myself out if I could be, an educator, give something back. So I enjoyed mentorship before when I was working in different positions, and I thought, okay, maybe I can try, university. So I had an opportunity to do that, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, the first course I made from scratch, and then I had so much fun doing it, and so much fun teaching, and got such a great response from the students. It was, I don't know, working with young people is very energizing. So I really enjoyed it. And then why I went to PhD, basically. I understood that although have a lot of experience practically, I am not, an academic. I cannot coach them or mentor them when it comes to research and the academic stuff, the theoretical part. So in order to become a better educator, better university teacher, I thought that I have a gap, and then that was the reason why I study now PhD, to become a better teacher, better university educator.
So like that, my question is a long time coming. How do you combine all of that? Teaching, learning, working. You mentioned you have kids. So like, even how do you do it?
Planning and discipline.
Scaled agile framework.
No, it's like a narrow agile framework. But yeah, I have to plan. Some days that I have are planned by the minute. So where I have to be where. And then also I have a habit, I'm not putting everything to the last minute. So I try to see what is coming in the upcoming week or month, and when I have to do what, in order to be prepared and not stressed out in the last night, let's say. So that is how I manage. I put on, priorities, what things I can miss, what battles I can lose, let's say, and then where I have to focus. So until now, it works for me, but I see that it's really difficult. I need to now stop teaching at Vilnius University, unfortunately, because I just can't manage to do everything in a very qualitative way. So now from January, February, I will only focus on work and PhD.
Those are not small things.
Yeah,
to focus on.
Those are full-time jobs on their own, right? So
and I feel that once you're done with the PhD, you'll be more equipped to teach again at some point.
So this is my investment into the future of teaching.
Yeah, that's a very, very mature approach to handling everything. So the other thing that we haven't really talked about, something that I declared in the beginning of the episode, is the women's perspective in tech. Because a lot of the time, women's contributions to tech historically are not that noticeable, especially in the beginning of tech. I think first, even programmers were mostly women, where they were just very basic counting machines. That is the word that was relegated mostly to women in like 60s and 70s, as far as I'm aware, of course. And over time, once the prestige of tech grew, it became a male-dominated field. And most of the time, when you think tech person, you
imagine a male.
You imagine men. So from your perspective, how does that change? And you have been doing this for a long time, and I think that over that time, sentiments have changed, right? Or
I think they have. I remember a funny story when I started in IBM, and we were having those kinds of surveys employees have, right? And one question shocked me, and I still remember it to this day. And it said, "Do you use your female traits to get your way or to get, something done? Like pretend you don't understand something and ask your colleagues to explain or mansplain it to you." That was an interesting, survey to all the female IBMers, I think, back then. I can't imagine this kind of service today. It's much less, I would say, male-dominated, but it's still not enough, I think. Since I'm writing my PhD on this topic, so my PhD, Will AI Make a Difference with the Technology Leadership Diversity? I looked into some numbers while preparing the research proposal. So basically, only 26% of girls aspire a career in technology in general, in IT, and then only 14 to 20% actually go, in the Western countries. I mean, it's the statistics from the Western countries. And then not all of them actually go to work, in the IT sector, because during some interviews, according to research, again, they feel a little bit left out with all those nerdy, maybe stereotypes during interviews as well. And maybe even managers who hire, they have some kind of bias that better candidate is man, right? Because it's a unconscious, probably even bias. This is again according to research, and then you even narrow it down when it goes to leadership positions. So when you choose who to promote to the management, to the senior management, you still have this bias. So this is one part, and another part is that females sometimes they don't even want to go for further positions, for management, for leadership, because they feel that it's gonna ruin their work-life balance, or maybe they're putting too much pressure on them and they wouldn't handle, and then so the funnel goes somehow narrower and narrower, and so it's not a lot of women in technology leadership, I would say. I belong to CIO LT. This is an association for IT managers in Lithuania from different companies. So there is a handful only of a female there. There are so many men, and it's fun. I'm used to that, but I mean, I really want to promote. So I wonder if artificial intelligence would make a shift towards better diversity.
I don't want to spoil your dissertation, but I have to ask. So, your research so far, what does it tell you? Will AI have an impact, a positive or a negative one, in that direction?
Well, I am very early in my research now, but from what I have read, there are two sides actually to that. One side is I think that, so I'm looking at it from the stereotypes point of view. So AI brings a little more, soft skills, right? Because with no code and low code and those technologies, you don't have to be that technical. You need to be more analytical. You need to be more problem solver, more strategist, and then you can use the tools to create digital products or other things in technology. So I'm looking from that perspective, that maybe it will change the minds of girls and female who would not think of that profession as a male-dominated, because it's going to be easier, less hard skills are going to be needed. But from the other side, the research shows that the data for hiring is quite biased. So when you use AI without cleaning your data, unbias your data, then this diversity problem might be even worse because the data shows you that the best candidates from the past were mostly men, right? And then you wouldn't even select female candidates. But I hope that this problem is going to be solved, because everyone is aware of that, and we have to fix the data, as we talked earlier, right?
Yes.
So I'm quite optimistic. I hope that AI in general will change the way we work in the future. I don't believe it's going to take all of our jobs and it's going to be an apocalypse. But I think that it's going to automate the boring jobs, the ones that we don't really want to do, and then we can focus on the creative, on the strategic, on the vision, on the analysis, on creating better products, better systems, better functionalities if we talk about tech.
Yeah. Well, I also said many times that I'm mostly an optimist when it comes to technology, generally speaking, and AI specifically as well, but it's hard not to bring some skepticism into this whole thing, because at the end of the day, especially when you look to our colleagues in the US, for example, they are very profit driven, and having that time dedicated to, working with the data and removing bias from that data in order to make better decisions sounds like, yeah, very interesting, but we can just implement it and then gain our money here and now. Why do we need to do all of those extra steps? That's boring.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have an answer, but I can definitely see some people gravitating towards quick and easy solutions. Oh, the data says everybody good is male. Good, everybody is male now. So women are all fired.
But then you get problems when you create products that are not suitable for women, for example, right?
Yeah.
When creating system functionalities, digital products, anything, you need to think about the broader audience, right? So when you have mixed teams, and I'm not only talking about gender, I'm also talking about age, about social,
cultural backgrounds,
right? Then you cover more ground, and then you have more perspectives, and then your products are better. And more profitable, right? So I think that you have to sell this. Somehow we're back to sales.
And long-term planning versus short-term gains.
Yes.
Again, you have to do some groundwork before you're able to build a good product in the end. But you can focus on kind of next quarter's profits, and they can rise if you fire people, for example, as a lot of companies are doing, even big companies.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long term, I would say that would be a mistake, because you spend time hiring those people, training them up. They spend time learning, all of the intricacies of those large corporations and the interconnectedness of those systems. And they have all of that valuable knowledge. And sure, you can fire them and you will save some money on salaries at this point, but you will not get that knowledge back. Somebody else will. And in the longer term, they will win, probably. That's what I like to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Calmer heads that prevail. So coming back to your experience as a woman in tech, would you say that there are still particular barriers that exist for entry besides the ones that you've mentioned, the nerdy interviews and stuff, or maybe, just it's not promoted enough maybe for women at younger ages?
Yeah, I think the biggest barrier is in our heads. Mm-hmm. So it starts with the families and then schools and then going for universities. I think there are the barriers. I don't see the barriers when we come to work. For example, in Gijos now, when I joined a year and a half ago, there were, I think, 5 women in my team out of 46, something like that. Mm-hmm. Today we're 14. So yeah, and I'm very, very proud of that, and I see that the team is becoming also more, diverse and culturally better. And, we have all kinds of perspectives. We have different opinions, and then the team even performs better, I would say. So it's important to have this.
Well, what would you say then helps promote that? What can organizations do specifically besides, just saying like, yeah, we're diverse. And then an AI decides with the same bias of who to hire and who not to hire.
Yeah, so you have to make conscious choices and try to avoid those biases. Of course, it's easy to say. But then I don't even know if it has to be from the organizational point of view. I would say that women, girls, they have to be encouraged, to do and not to think, I can't do it. It's too technical for me. No, IT is not for me. But do you know what IT is? Is like, it's so broad. You can be a designer, you can be a tester, you can be a support specialist, a consultant, or I don't know, not only programmer. Programmer is 1 in 100 probably of different roles that you could take within IT. So I would say encouraging girls and maybe educating that there's a lot of things that you can choose from, and you can go for it. You don't have to know everything. There is a saying in Lithuanian that I think I understood it quite late in my career, but that it's not saints who make the pots. Do you know this expression? So it means that we're all human. We all learn. It's not that someone else is way better than you. So you can do everything what others can do, and you learn and you grow. So you can do it. Basically, it's another way of saying that. So I would maybe put more into this promoting and educating girls. Because it's not, it's not hard. It's you just learn and you do it. It's not rocket science. Maybe even rocket science you can learn, right?
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation. Women in STEM fields specifically, and their contributions that often also go unnoticed and attributed to other men. But I guess you're right. There is a certain lack of incentives when it comes to figuring things out, and they are complicated, difficult things to figure out. So like tech, like even how tech works is difficult to figure out and to explain. Like, yeah, there's analysts, but there's like system analysts and business analysts, and those are very different types of analysts, and they exist within very many different frameworks. And there are people who are client-facing and non-client-facing, and there are people who work on internal projects, external projects. So like,
but you can do it in a game.
Yeah, you can do it.
You have a project, you have to, implement a system. What do you do?
Yeah.
So
in my school back in Israel, we had like robotics competitions. Like that was 25 years ago or something. So nobody really thought about robots in any realistic capacity at that point. But people who loved tinkering with actual physical devices loved those competitions. I was not one of them. Like that was too hard for me. But that kind of drive also creates kind of interest in the whole field. And I'm sure that some of those people who won those competitions are now some of the best, probably robotics experts somewhere. I need to look those people up, honestly.
You should invite them to your podcast also.
Wow, yeah. Good idea. Good idea. I need to find out who some of my ex-classmates have become over those years. But I digress. So there are very many systems and programs that can stimulate this sort of thing. And hopefully, with time moving on, we'll have more of those rather than less. Do you maybe see a difference of how like public facing companies or private companies or educational institutions can help stimulate the amount of women that go into tech?
Well, there are already some initiatives working with schools, working with universities. In our case, and so I see that we are, to find people and join energy is even harder than people joining IT. At least, all the startups ecosystem, it made it fancy, and better looking. To energy, it's even more difficult. But going into schools, educating, showing what we're doing, and it's the same. Like going to different schools, maybe doing some hackathons, even for the school children, showing what can be done, for example, with vibe coding. So these kinds of initiatives, I would say, are most promising. In Lithuania, we actually have quite a few initiatives that promote women in tech. So we have one that is called, I think, Empowering Girls, and this is for schools. So I actually went to a couple of the lectures where I talked about my career and what I was doing. I hope that I encourage some of the girls, to do that as well. And then there is another program, which is Women in Tech. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's basically helping women to reskill towards IT. And they have like hundreds, maybe even thousands of women who are going into that program. And it's quite a successful one. I've hired some people from there. And because they're so motivated, they do a good job. So yeah, those kinds of programs are there. And I think Lithuania is doing pretty well on that front with those having mentorship and everything. But it would be much better for those women to go into tech from the beginning, because the reskilling is, I think, more difficult.
Definitely so. And it's not only a problem that is exclusive to women, but of course, we are talking about that specifically. But generally, kind of speaking, reskilling is a whole topic.
Yeah, it's another topic.
And it has benefits and downsides. And I agree that it's better to kind of just start from the very beginning and be focused on what you're trying to achieve. It makes your journey that much easier in the end. But still, like I'm a very bad person to talk about diversity as a white man in tech. My level of diversity is very, very limited. So I would rather just listen and try and learn from the experience. So let's kind of try and round up our discussion coming back to the future. Back to the future, we already talked a little bit about your dissertation and your work on how AI will impact biases and what your expectations towards that are. What are you thinking about other technological experiences? Like how will tech dictate how our relationship will work between between people who give jobs and people who work, between what kind of biases exist within those systems? Is tech something that can help, not just AI, but generally speaking, or is tech just, becoming one of the things that are part of the system and just limits everything?
I think it already enables us to do so much things. If we think, 50 years back, even 30 years back, it was so unproductive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we have all those systems, and it became a hygiene as well. So without it, you cannot exist anymore. And even for AI, I read in a book recently that if you don't adopt to it, then you will cease to exist. So it's and a thought to the companies. So technology is a tool, right? And how we use it is what defines the outcome. So basically, if we use it right, if we use it in a good way, then we get good results. If we misuse it and we use it for something, to make bad decisions, so if you don't look into the data that is used, then you will have a bad outcome. So I hope that we can learn to use new technologies in a way that it will bring us towards a good result, not only in terms of profits, but also in terms of better good for the society as well. So I when I did the research, there are two schools of thought. I already mentioned it a little bit. So one says that it's gonna be apocalypse, and everyone is gonna lose their jobs, and governments should already look into the unemployment issue and what we're going to do with all those unemployed people. And the other school of thought is saying that we're going to get so much productive. We're going to do so much more than we do today. So I'm more into going towards that optimistic one. So I think we need to use technology and adopt newly coming technologies as tools to get better results.
Yeah, that's a very succinct way of putting it. Do you believe that will happen through the public sector innovation, private sector innovation, maybe through startups? Where do you think we need to look for that sort of transformation into our society?
Everywhere. I mean, in all the sectors, I would say. Actually, public and private sector, for me, that there wasn't so much difference. I thought it's going to be more of a difference. So, but I didn't have any cultural shock when I joined Miesto Gijos. So I would say we're on par, with the private sector. So we have to work together to get results for society. And the educational sector, they have to adapt as well. I see from my students, for example, when we have some kinds of projects that we have to do, they are definitely using LLMs. They're definitely using AI. But we cannot stop that. We cannot say don't use it, because they will anyway. But we have to adopt and ourselves use this technology to give them a better knowledge, to make sure that they look into it, that they validate the results, that they critically think of what results they are getting, and say which one is correct, which one is not correct. So we have to embrace that also from all angles. So public, private, education, we have to embrace the new technologies, I think.
Hopefully we will, in a way that actually helps and not does the other thing.
Yeah.
What would your advice then be for maybe young women that are just starting out their career journeys, or maybe older women who are looking to reskill, and generally people who are trying to get into tech right now and with a very challenging landscape, so to speak? What skills do people need to focus on? What to look for? How do they succeed?
First of all, you can do it. This is what I would say, because these are all learnable skills, right? It's not something that you can't learn, that it's for someone else and not me. It's, as I said, this sphere is so broad. You can go with any skills, you can practice different kinds of, roles. So if you're analytical, you can go into data analytics or be an IT analyst and write the specifications. If you're more of a holistic person, you can go for architectures and visions and strategies. If you're more collaborative, then you go for Scrum Masters, for example, positions, and then you coordinate a team. So it's for everyone. I mean, whatever skills you have in technology, you can use them. So maybe I'm trying to promote it, but I really believe that.
I concur. As a non-technical person in tech myself, I can definitely attest to the fact that there's a lot of room for people of a different skill sets in tech. And especially right now, I am mentor for the local plug and play. I've said this many times, but the important thing is that I see a lot of very innovative startups being built right now that are led by women, and not necessarily women who can code. Because right now coding becomes more and more a commoditized skill where you don't need to spend years and years and years studying coding just to understand the basics of how to build a product. And you didn't need to know how to code to build a product. I know that sounds bad. Please don't kill me in the comments. I know that it's better to know coding, and I know that it's like the more you know, the better it becomes. But a lot of the time for startups specifically, you just need to kind of move forward and build a business first, and then
you build
second.
An MVP. You can build an MVP today in minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is something that I was talking about. We will do more. We will do better things. So it's much easier to fail fast, right? So you build an MVP, then you try it out. If it doesn't work, you build another one. You don't spend months on coding. And later, if you want to improve it, then you hire good programmers, and then you do a good, sustainable product. I don't believe that programmers will cease to exist. I think that they will just become smarter and more productive.
They will have more work.
Yeah. So
time will tell. Anyway, Diana, where do people find you? Where do people listen to more of your thoughts? Where do people follow you?
In my LinkedIn. I don't have anything else. This is the first podcast I'm on, so
LinkedIn is good. So thank you very much for sharing your insights, for talking about your career, and thank you all as well for listening to us today. If you are looking to get into tech, now is the time. And though it is very, very difficult, you do have the most amount of tools you've ever had to actually succeed, and hopefully we will build a better, more inclusive, and more diverse future very, very soon. Subscribe to our channel, talk about our podcast, share it with your friends, and yada, yada, yada. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one.